On a bitterly cold, icy morning in Lubbock, tragedy struck on Memphis Avenue. A man was standing at the bus stop waiting for his ride when the bus skidded on a patch of ice and fatally hit him. Though the incident happened decades ago, the memory of that fateful day lingers in a haunting way. Locals say that if you drive north on Memphis Avenue at night, near the corner of 66th Street, you might catch a glimpse of something eerie, the shadowy figure of a man leaning against the light pole, just as he had on that fateful morning. But here's where the story takes an even more chilling turn. As drivers approach, the man vanishes. Many have reported this strange sight over the years, claiming to see the figure waiting at the bus stop, only for him to disappear as they get closer. One woman in the late 1980s said she saw the man during a late-night drive and even slowed down to ask if he needed help. As her headlights illuminated the spot, he was simply gone. In the early 2000s, a college student swore she saw the same man while heading home one night. At first, she thought it was a pedestrian waiting for the bus, but when she blinked, the figure vanished right before her eyes. Locals familiar with the tragic story of the Memphis man believe it's his restless spirit is forever waiting for a bus that will never come. Others, more skeptical, think it might just be tricks of the light or reflections off the ice, but the consistency of the sightings makes it hard to dismiss entirely. Paranormal investigators have visited the area, recording strange phenomena like temperature drops and unexplained cold spots, especially around the light pole where the man is often seen. Even though Memphis Avenue has changed over the years with more traffic and development, sightings of the Memphis man continue, keeping this tragic ghost story alive in Lubbock's memory. Aboard the historic USS Lexington in Corpus Christi, you might not encounter Casper the friendly ghost, but you could meet Charlie, a ghostly tour guide who has left more than a few visitors puzzled and spooked. Many guests have reported meeting a striking, kind young man with blue eyes, dressed in a crisp naval uniform, who cheerfully leads them on tours of the lower decks. It's only when these visitors return to ask staff about the guide that they're told something unsettling. The Lexington doesn't have tour guides stationed in the lower decks. That's when the real chills set in. Charlie isn't just a ghost story. His tragic death is part of the Lexington's wartime history. He was an engine room operator who lost his life in 1943 when a Japanese torpedo struck the ship. While his physical presence is long gone, his spirit seems to have remained, carrying on his duties in the ship's depths. Over the years, countless visitors and staff have had encounters with Charlie. In one well-known incident from the early 1990s, a family touring the ship recalled following a friendly guide who gave them a detailed explanation of the engine room's machinery. He was so knowledgeable and personable that they tried to tip him after the tour. When they returned to the front desk to praise the guide, they were met with confused looks. There was no record of any staff member matching the description. Other crew members stationed aboard the museum have had their own unexplained experiences. One staff member reported seeing a young man standing in the engine room, staring out into the distance, only for him to vanish moments later. Another visitor in the 2000s claimed to feel a sudden cold gust and hear footsteps behind them while exploring the lower decks, though they were alone at the time. Some even say they've heard faint voices and the hum of machinery long after the ship has shut down for the day. Paranormal investigators have spent nights aboard the USS Lexington, reporting unusual electromagnetic activity and temperature drops, particularly in the areas where Charlie is said to linger. Despite the spooky occurrences, many visitors leave feeling more charmed than frightened, as though Charlie's friendly spirit continues to guide and protect those who venture through the ship's haunted halls. Athens may be known for its small-town charm and outdoor adventures, but it also harbors a darker history that will leave you uneasy. Tucked away on West College Street is a spot known to locals as Monkey Bridge, where an unsettling legend was born. The story goes that years ago, a circus train derailed violently under what is now called Thunder Bridge. Among the wreckage, the surviving monkeys escaped into the nearby woods, but many were killed in the accident. Locals swear that the restless spirits of these animals still haunt the overgrown area around the bridge, their cries sometimes heard on quiet nights. But that's not where the story ends. According to legend, Medford Fuller, a wealthy but reclusive figure in town, was said to have gathered up the escaped monkeys. Fuller owned a large estate nearby, now known as Fuller Park. It is believed that he caged the surviving monkeys there, performing strange rituals in the secluded woods. The rumors of animal cruelty and dark ceremonies only fueled the chilling atmosphere surrounding the park, which to this day remains overgrown and abandoned. Visitors claim to have seen the remains of giant iron cages where the monkeys were once kept, as well as eerie stone structures crumbling with age. Adding to the eerie vibe is the fact that Medford Fuller's grave is still located within the park's dense forest. Those brave enough to explore its tangled trails have reported strange occurrences, phantom sounds of screeching, rustling in the bushes, and sightings of shadowy figures darting among the trees. One local teenager in the late 1990s claimed to have felt invisible hands brushing against his back as he passed through the area late at night. In the early 2000s, a group of friends exploring the park swore they heard distant chattering sounds, almost like the calls of monkeys, though none were around. Despite its overgrown state, the park still draws curious explorers, some of whom come across the old cages and remnants of Fuller's mysterious rituals. Paranormal investigators have tried to capture evidence of the hauntings, reporting strange energy readings and cold spots near the bridge and Fuller's grave. Although Fuller Park remains a local curiosity, many Athens residents prefer to stay away, letting the dark history and ghostly legends live on in whispers. On a tragic, rainy morning in San Antonio, a school bus carrying children stalled on a railroad crossing. Unable to move in time, the bus was struck by an oncoming train, resulting in a devastating crash that claimed the lives of 10 children. This heartbreaking event left a lasting mark on the community. But in the years since, a chilling legend has emerged surrounding the tracks on Shane Road. According to the story, the spirits of the children who perished in the accident remain at the site, and they now work to prevent the same tragedy from happening again. It is said that if a car stalls or stops near the tracks, the ghosts will push it to safety, away from the danger of an approaching train. To experience the phenomenon for yourself, locals suggest parking about 50 feet before the tracks, putting your car in neutral, and turning off the engine. Without touching the gas or steering, your vehicle will begin to move uphill, seemingly pushed by unseen hands, and cross over the tracks. As eerie as that sounds, the legend takes it a step further. Many who try the experiment are encouraged to dust their car's rear bump with baby powder beforehand. After crossing the tracks, they claim to find tiny fingerprints on the bumper, proof, they say, of the ghostly children who helped them. Over the years, many have tested the story, and the results have been consistent enough to keep the legend alive. In the 1970s, a family reported their car moving over the tracks in neutral, convinced they were helped by something beyond this world. In the 1980s, a group of teenagers claimed to find handprints in the baby powder after a midnight visit. In 2002, a paranormal investigator recorded footage of a car moving uphill without any apparent force driving it. Despite skeptics attributing the car's movement to a natural optical illusion, where the incline is actually a downhill slope that appears to be uphill, those who experience it firsthand often walk away believing there's more to the story. Some witnesses say they've heard faint laughter or whispers while crossing the tracks, adding a personal and haunting touch to the already chilling tale. The legend of the San Antonio ghost tracks remains one of the city's most famous ghost stories. Whether it's the spirits of the children looking out for others or simply a quirk of physics, one thing is certain: people keep returning to Shane Road to test the tale, hoping to catch a glimpse of the supernatural. Just outside of Abilene, the small town of Anson is home to one of Texas' most mysterious and enduring ghostly phenomena, the Anson Lights. For decades, locals and visitors alike have been captivated by these unexplained glowing orbs that appear at night along a quiet stretch of country road. To experience the lights, you're instructed to drive east on US 180 until you reach the cemetery, then turn right onto a nearby country road. Continue driving until you reach a crossroad, then turn back around and face the direction you came. The final step is to turn off your engine and flash your headlights 3 times. Sure enough, as the legend promises, a strange glowing light will appear in the distance, hovering where moments earlier there was nothing but darkness. The most popular legend surrounding the Anson lights is that they are the spirit of a grieving woman searching for her lost children. According to local lore, in the early 1900s, a woman sent her children out into the cold one evening, but they never returned. Distraught, she grabbed a lantern and wandered the area searching for them. It's said she continued looking for her children until the day she died, and her ghost has been seen ever since, still searching, her lantern glowing in the night. While many dismiss the lights as nothing more than car headlights or reflections, the sheer number of consistent sightings over the years has kept the legend alive. In the 1950s, several locals reported seeing the lights while returning home late at night, describing them as eerie, pulsating orbs that seemed to move along the road before fading into the darkness. In the 1980s, a group of college students from nearby Abilene drove out to see the lights and witnessed a glowing ball of light that followed their car for several minutes before disappearing. In 2005, a paranormal investigation team visited the site to capture the lights on film. They followed the same procedure, driving to the crossroads, flashing their headlights, and to their astonishment, a glowing orb appeared. Despite trying to debunk the phenomenon as light pollution or some natural cause, the investigators left without a clear explanation. Even locals who have lived near the cemetery for years are divided. Some claim they've seen the lights many times, while others believe it's an illusion caused by passing cars or atmospheric conditions. Yet, those who have experienced it firsthand, especially on nights when no cars are nearby, find it hard to dismiss as a simple trick of the eye. One farmer from the area reported seeing the light multiple times growing up and swore it wasn't coming from any car, especially since it seemed to float over fields where no road existed. Whether you believe the Anson lights are the spirit of a heartbroken mother or just a strange optical illusion, there's no denying the legend has endured for generations. The mystery continues to draw curious souls to the crossroads, eager to see for themselves the glowing light that has puzzled so many for decades. While Jefferson is often celebrated as the B&B capital of Texas, it holds another eerier distinction, being dubbed the most haunted small town in Texas. And at the heart of its ghostly reputation is The Grove, a historic home built in 1861 that has become known as the most haunted house in town. The Grove's history is rich, but it's the strange, unexplainable events that have made it famous. Visitors and locals alike have shared countless stories of paranormal encounters, from the unnerving sound of footsteps echoing through empty rooms to furniture mysteriously moving on its own. But the most talked about apparition is the Lady in White, who has been spotted many times over the years, calmly walking the front porch before vanishing through the wall of the house. The Lady in White is far from a new legend. She has been seen since the early 1900s, when a local farmer reported seeing a ghostly figure late one night while passing by the Grove. He described her as a woman dressed in a flowing white gown, drifting across the porch before disappearing into thin air. In the 1940s, a group of visitors staying in Jefferson claimed to have seen the same figure while walking by the house after dark. They watched in disbelief as she moved along the porch, then vanished into the wall where a door once stood many years before. One of the most famous sightings occurred in 1983, when the Grove's then owner decided to renovate the house. As construction workers tore down parts of the old structure, strange events began happening. Tools would disappear only to reappear in odd places, and work crews refused to stay after dark, spooked by strange noises and cold drafts in the middle of summer. The owner, skeptical at first, changed his mind after witnessing the Lady in White himself late one night. He saw her walk from one end of the porch to the other, then fade into the wall, just as others had described. In 1994, paranormal investigators were invited to the Grove, and they recorded unusual electromagnetic readings and captured EVPs, electronic voice phenomena, of voices that seemed to have no source. One investigator even claimed to feel a tap on his shoulder when no one else was around. The lady in white was never seen during their visit, but they couldn't deny the strange energy that filled the house. The current owners of the Grove, who now give tours of the property, embrace the house's haunted history. They've shared their own experiences, recounting moments when they've heard footsteps on the stairs or seen objects move with no explanation. Guests on the tours have reported similar occurrences, with some claiming they've caught glimpses of the lady in white themselves. The Grove's hauntings go beyond just the lady in white. Some believe there are multiple spirits in the home. Guests have described feeling sudden, unexplained cold spots and hearing whispered voices when no one else is nearby. One visitor even reported seeing a shadowy figure standing in the hallway, only for it to vanish as they approached. Despite its haunted reputation, the Grove remains a beloved part of Jefferson's history. It draws ghost hunters and curious tourists from all over, hoping to catch a glimpse of the lady in white or experience one of the house's other strange occurrences. Whether you're a believer in the paranormal or not, there's no denying that the Grove has an aura of mystery that keeps visitors returning year after year, seeking answers to its ghostly past. In the heart of Waxahachie, Texas, lies the Catfish Plantation, a beloved restaurant where the fried catfish is only part of the experience. The building, a charming Victorian house built in 1895, is widely known for its delicious Southern cuisine, but it's the ghostly encounters that keep visitors buzzing. Over the years, the restaurant has earned its reputation as one of Texas' most haunted dining spots, and for good reason. Strange happenings and sightings of spirits are so common that a sign at the entrance encourages patrons. If you have a ghostly experience, please tell us. One of the most frequently spotted apparitions is a woman named Caroline, believed to be a former resident of the home. Caroline has a particular fondness for the front window, where she's often seen staring out at the street as if waiting for someone to return. Her presence is so well known that even the staff have come to expect her occasional appearances. One evening in 2001, a waitress claimed to have seen Caroline in full detail, dressed in a Victorian-style gown, standing near the window before fading away. Multiple guests sitting near the same window have reported feeling uneasy or catching glimpses of movement out of the corner of their eyes. But Caroline isn't the only spirit lingering in the Catfish Plantation. A mischievous young man, whose identity remains a mystery, is said to enjoy flirting with female guests. His presence is often felt as a light brushing on the shoulder or knee, causing an uncomfortable stir for some. In 1998, a diner reported feeling someone touch her leg while she was eating, but when she looked under the table, there was no one there. Several other women have reported similar encounters over the years, with some even feeling a playful tug on their clothes. The paranormal activity at Catfish Plantation doesn't stop at simple sightings or touches. Staff members have reported objects moving on their own, including plates and utensils being rearranged in the kitchen. In 1995, the owners hired a paranormal investigator after noticing doors opening and closing by themselves and items disappearing, only to reappear in strange places. The investigator confirmed that the house had a significant amount of residual energy and suggested it was home to multiple spirits, possibly former residents who were unwilling to leave. One of the most chilling incidents occurred in 2003 when a group of diners reported hearing faint voices coming from an empty room. They described it as a low murmur, as if people were having a conversation just out of earshot. When the staff checked the room, it was completely empty. The diners were so spooked that they left without finishing their meal. The ghostly encounters have been so frequent that even skeptics find themselves second-guessing their disbelief. In 2010, a local reporter visited the restaurant to write a piece debunking the paranormal claims. However, during her meal, she felt a cold breeze pass by her, despite it being a warm summer day, and noticed her glass of water slide a few inches across the table on its own. Needless to say, her story took a different angle than she had originally planned. Despite its haunted history, the Catfish Plantation continues to thrive as a popular dining destination, especially in October, when the restaurant fully embraces its spooky reputation with ghost-themed decor. Visitors come from all over to see if they can catch a glimpse of Caroline or feel the playful touch of the young man's ghost. Even with all the eerie happenings, the atmosphere remains friendly, and many patrons have come to love the restaurant's otherworldly charm. Whether you're a believer in the paranormal or just looking for a good meal, the Catfish Plantation offers an experience unlike any other. It's not just the food that leaves a lasting impression, it's the ghosts that come with it. If you're in the mood for a historical spook, look no further than the house-turned-museum of Susanna Dickinson, the only white female survivor of the Alamo. This modest home, built in the mid-19th century, is a testament to resilience and tragedy, serving as a poignant reminder of the sacrifices made during the Texas Revolution. Visitors to Susanna's house often report strange occurrences that hint at the lingering presence of its former residents. One of the most commonly cited phenomena is the sighting of curtains in the front windows parting mysteriously, as if someone is peeking out. A family visiting in 2018 recounted how they noticed the curtains moving while no one was inside the room. Intrigued, they took a closer look, only to find the windows securely closed. Many have also reported feeling an inexplicable sense of calm as they walk through the house, only to be followed by fleeting shadows. Some claim to have spotted the spirit of Mrs. Dickinson herself wandering the property, dressed in the attire of her time. In a notable incident in 2015, a museum guide was leading a tour when she suddenly felt a cold breeze pass through her, despite the absence of drafts. When she looked up, she swore she saw a figure resembling Susanna standing at the top of the stairs, watching over the visitors. When the guide blinked, the figure was gone. Further adding to the haunting atmosphere, the house is said to echo with the whispers of conversations from long ago. In 2020, a group of ghost hunters conducted an investigation and recorded audio that captured faint voices discussing events of the Alamo. They were shocked to hear phrases like, "Remember the Alamo," and "We fought bravely," suggesting that the spirits within the house are still reliving their past experiences. The property is also known for its strong emotional energy, particularly in the parlor, where Susanna is believed to have received news of the Alamo's fall. Visitors often describe feelings of sadness or anxiety when they enter this room. In 2019, a couple reported feeling a heaviness in the air, as if they were not alone. They both turned to each other, feeling an inexplicable urge to leave the room. As you stroll through Susanna Dickinson's house, you can't help but feel the weight of history pressing in around you. It's a space that encapsulates not only the story of a remarkable woman, but also the spirit of an era filled with bravery and sacrifice. Whether you believe in the paranormal or simply want to explore a piece of Texas history, visiting Susanna Dickinson's house offers an unforgettable glimpse into the past, complete with a few ghostly encounters that might just send a chill down your spine. For those seeking a real scream, spending the night in the old priests and officers' quarters of Presidio La Bahia is an unforgettable experience. This historic Spanish fort, built in the early 18th century, was the site of the tragic Goliad massacre in 1836, where over 300 Texian soldiers were executed within and around the fort's walls. The weight of its dark history is palpable, and many believe it's haunted by the spirits of those who lost their lives. As night falls and the fort empties, eerie sounds fill the air. Visitors have reported hearing the heart-wrenching cries of infants echoing through the grounds, stirring up an unsettling sense of sorrow and despair. One local resident recounted an experience in 2005 while camping near the fort. She was jolted awake in the middle of the night by the chilling sound of a baby's wail, only to find that she was alone in the area. In addition to the sorrowful cries, guests have described encounters with a ghostly friar who is often seen pacing the chapel, chanting Latin prayers in a hushed tone. In 2012, a group of paranormal investigators visited Presidio La Bahia and set up equipment in the chapel, hoping to capture evidence of the spirit. As they reviewed their recordings, they were astonished to hear distinct phrases in Latin that they could not explain. This eerie phenomenon has led many to believe the friar is forever bound to the site, continuing his prayers for the souls of the fallen. Another haunting tale involves a woman dressed in white, often spotted wandering around the fort. Legend has it that she is the spirit of a woman who lost her family during the massacre. In 2010, a family staying overnight reported seeing her silhouette in the courtyard, gliding silently among the ruins. They claimed to feel an overwhelming sense of grief as she approached, only to vanish before their eyes. For the brave souls willing to spend the night within the fort's walls, the experience can be both thrilling and terrifying. Our team decided to stay overnight, and let me tell you, we screamed like little girls. As we settled into the quarters, we felt an unsettling chill that swept through the rooms. Suddenly, the sound of rattling chains echoed in the darkness, causing us to jump out of our seats. The next morning, we compared notes and discovered that each of us had experienced something inexplicable. One friend felt a sudden drop in temperature near the chapel, while another heard whispers that seemed to come from nowhere. Our night at Presidio La Bahia solidified its reputation as a hotbed of paranormal activity and left us with stories that we would share for years to come. Whether you're a ghost enthusiast or just curious about history, Presidio La Bahia offers a hauntingly unique experience. Just be prepared for what may lurk in the shadows, and perhaps, don't forget to bring your courage and a good set of earplugs for the infant cries. Steeped in history and shrouded in mystery, La Carafe is a dimly lit tavern in Houston that dates back to 1847, making it the oldest building in the city. With its towering mounds of wax from countless candles illuminating the space, this bar has an undeniably eerie atmosphere that sets the stage for ghostly encounters. Patrons have long reported sightings and interactions with the spirit of Carl Truscott, an old bartender who passed away in the 1990s. Many claim to have experienced his lingering presence, often feeling a chill in the air or the sensation of someone standing behind them. In 2019, a group of friends enjoyed a night out at La Carafe when one of them swore he heard a disembodied voice shouting "last call" at an unexpected hour. At first, they thought it was a prank from one of the other patrons, but when they turned to look, they found no one near the bar. The bar's front windows are another hotspot for paranormal activity. Late at night, customers have reported seeing shadowy figures moving behind the glass, even when the tavern is closed. In 2021, a couple sitting near the window claimed they saw a figure waving them from outside, only to realize there was no one there when they stepped outside to investigate. Adding a touch of humor to the spooky ambiance, many patrons have complained about the tiny restrooms. On several occasions, people have waited for a bathroom stall only to find it empty upon entering. One night in 2020, a local blogger recounted how she felt someone brush past her in the cramped stall, despite being alone. She quickly exited, only to find the restroom completely empty and her friends waiting outside, completely oblivious to the incident. The combination of history, ghostly bartenders, and inexplicable occurrences makes La Carafe a must-visit for those brave enough to enjoy a drink in the company of spirits. Whether you're in the mood for a spooky tale or just a good cocktail, this haunted tavern promises an unforgettable experience filled with both laughter and chills. Steeped in history and haunted tales, the Driskill Hotel in Austin is a must-visit for those seeking a spine-tingling experience. Built in 1886, this opulent hotel features ancient wells beneath its floors, rumored to contribute to its otherworldly atmosphere. With its grand architecture and elegantly decorated hallways that could easily be mistaken for a scene from The Shining, the Driskill is rich in ghostly lore. Guests often report seeing the spirits of multiple bridal ghosts wandering through the hotel, particularly in the lobby and grand staircase areas. One popular tale tells of a bride who tragically died on her wedding day and now roams the hotel in her wedding dress, searching for her lost love. In 2017, a couple staying at the hotel shared a chilling encounter where they saw a fleeting figure in white glide down the hallway, disappearing into the wall. For those looking for a truly eerie experience, the most haunted rooms in the hotel are said to be rooms 525 and 429. In room 525, guests have reported disembodied voices, cold spots, and even the feeling of being watched. A guest in 2019 recounted waking up in the middle of the night to find the temperature had plummeted and the sensation of someone gently tugging at the sheets. When she turned on the light, She was alone, but the experience left her shaken. Room 429 has its own share of paranormal activity. People have described unexplained knocks on the door and eerie shadows moving across the walls. A notable incident occurred in 2020 when a guest recorded a video of a door in the hallway opening and closing on its own, despite being unoccupied. The video went viral, sparking further interest in the hotel's haunted reputation. Guests have also reported encounters with Colonel Jesse Driskill, the hotel's founder, who passed away in 1890. Many claim to have seen him enjoying a cigar while gazing out at traffic from his room. In 2018, a visitor reported seeing a gentleman in period clothing seated by the window, only to discover that no one else was in the room when she looked again. The Driskill Hotel's rich history, combined with its reputation for being haunted, makes it a fascinating destination for both history buffs and ghost enthusiasts alike. Whether you're drawn to its elegant charm or its ghostly residence, a stay at the Driskill promises an unforgettable blend of luxury and the supernatural, if you dare to spend the night. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel, like, comment, and share the video. See you next time.